Yeah.
Yay.
Welcome back, everyone. This is I'm Bad at This with
Me and him.
Me. Now, what's your name? Maybe me isn't enough.
I mean, everybody should know me by now. That sounded weird.
That's on you if you don't know who this is. So we're not even going to say.
I'm Maritza.
Okay, you completely contradicted me. I'm Peter, and I'm okay with her contradicting me because I shouldn't be so controlling.
I'm really bad at things.
Me too.
So I'm sorry.
That's okay. No apologies necessary. We are very, this whole show is about exploring what we may feel vulnerable
Especially
about.
words.
Words are tough today. So last time we were talking about making stuff.
Yeah.
And that was a fun one. But so for this episode, we have something kind of intense, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah. What is it? Tell us.
So we're going to be talking about overcoming nihilism. Just take that in.
I've got twiddly fingers today.
Yeah, wow. Maritza, you really took that in. I could see it going everywhere.
Yeah. What does that mean? What is nihilism, man? What is
I
it?
was just going to ask you that. I was trying to put the labor on you here. So nihilism, as I understand, is basically deciding that everything is completely pointless and sort of giving up.
Oh.
Well, actually, I don't know if it particularly... Isn't it just the thought that everything has no point?
Yeah. It's like... I think it's like the opposite of existentialism, right? I don't remember. I didn't do well in philosophy class.
I don't know either.
But I know because I know Latin, and I know that nihil, N-I-H-I-L, which is the root word of nihilism, means nothing.
Okay, so it's all this is for nothing is kind of what I understand the gist of it is.
Yeah.
And I definitely viewed myself as a nihilist for many years. I thought I was... it's like, well, we're doomed, and so what even matters? And I definitely, I still have remnants of that in me. But I will say that both you and I are pretty energetic people, and I don't usually associate nihilism with that kind of energy. It seems like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's even the point? It feels more deflated than that.
Yeah.
So where does your energy come from? Would you view yourself as somewhat of a nihilist? And also contrasting with that, how do you have energy while holding this kind of, what is the point of all this?
I'm having a thought. So the energy, I couldn't tell you. I wake up some days, I'm like, I don't know why I feel this good, but I feel so good and I'm so grateful. And that's it. I just go through the world that way. I've always been kind of a bouncy, like Tigger-like person, like I'm just bouncing through the world. But lately, especially, in the last couple of years, I guess, and watching like the collapse of society in real time and being like in this generation that has experienced all these terrible things. I mean, not that every other generation hasn't or isn't, whatever. I don't care about you guys right now.
We're talking about us right now.
Exactly. I guess like I go through these waves of like you said, like, what's the point? What is even the point of anything? Like, why? Just why? What's the point of, okay, so where I'm approaching this from is very much like, what's the point of being sad or angry or even fearful? Because we're all going to die someday. And I'm sorry, that might be like a truth bomb for some people. There are so many things that are definitely stressful about life. We got to figure out how to survive, how to live, how to get food. Oh, God, I hate always having to feed my body. It's so annoying. Like, it's such a laborious task. But like...
I'm so sorry to hear that. I feel terrible for you, Maritza.
Like, I really love to eat, but like, I really hate it at the same time. Like, it's just really annoying. Like, can't I just photosynthesize or something?
I'm sorry, I was mocking you a little bit, but it seems real. I apologize.
It's a thing. But like, no, like, you go through life, you do all of this schooling, you do all of these studies, and then it's like, what are we trying to prove and to whom? Like, so I'm going to talk about the thing that I've been talking about for at least a week now, the book that I just finished, The Stand by Stephen King. This is not a plug for him at all because I don't really know that dude, and I've only read one of his books. I don't know. I guess I've seen a couple of his movies, whatever. Anyways, so The Stand is about a plague that hits society. Call it Captain Trips. And it, like, destroys, like, a huge chunk of the population. Basically, these people have to – it's a battle for your soul. And you have to figure out how to rebuild society and, like – you find your role in it, kind of. And there's also some other supernatural element of, like, good and evil, whatever. But as I'm reading it and as I'm finishing it, I'm like, dude, like, everybody got to start over. Like, if you didn't catch it, if you were immune to this plague, you got to start over. And people who might not have been considered leaders in the before world became leaders. They stepped, like, a guy who worked at a calculator factory became, like, the head, like, he was on this committee that was, like, deciding the rules for this new society or whatever. And it just got me to think, like, everything is really about choice. It all comes down to, like, who you choose to be. And even, like, in that fight of good and evil, it wasn't, like, the people who were on the evil side were, like, bad people necessarily. They just didn't want to, like, they were also being tricked by this one evil person that the others were bad and we had to fight them before they got to us. And then I was like, that just feels like how we live right now. Like, if you take away all the other crap from society, like, what are we even, what's going on, man? Like, what are we doing? We're fighting about, like, we're still fighting about our skin color. We're still fighting about this thing that we made up, money. We're fighting about invisible borders. Why? Why are we doing this? Like, and then we wake up and we go to work like none of that is happening? Like, what is the point of this? Nihilism.
I have some really good answers to that, and I'm just kidding. I don't know.
It's your turn.
Yeah, no, those are really good points. There's a lot of reasons. I think more than ever we have an abundance of evidence as to how complicated our problems are and how uncomplicated they should be. The stalemate of our political systems, the fact that over the course of our lifetime, wealth inequality has just gotten worse and worse and worse. I have a grandfather who was a news reporter, and he did some really cool work. But he's still alive. He's 100 now, which is incredible. Yeah, that's a lot. Like, my genes better not be that good. I don't know if I want to live to 100. But he, I was asking him, like, so how do you look back at your career? And he says, I'm a failure. And I'm like, Grandpa, it seems like you did really well. You respected, you got all these things on your wall. And he's like, yeah, but as a reporter, I was reporting on all these ills of society, and all the ills I reported on are actually in a much worse place than when I started.
Oh.
And it was just like, my grandfather is a much harder worker than I am. He's aligned his life to a sense of justice that, working here I'm really proud of, but I'm pretty hedonistic about what I spend my time doing. I work on videos and media. I do comedy stuff. It's all stuff I really love to do. It's not specifically with the goal of trying to help society. I'm glad that CCTV is a place where I can use those skills and help a community with them and communicate to itself. That's an awesome thing, but that wasn't my goal. I landed here and I'm like, oh, this makes sense, but it wasn't. I didn't have this altruistic thing. So to hear somebody who dedicated their life be like, it's bleak to hear that. And I remember it was really tough for me to process that. We had this conversation a while ago, and it's just like, yeah, I guess so. But chewing on some of these huge, difficult things is really tough. But after years of kind of just being like, what does it even matter? And just being sort of mopey about it, I decided, ironically, in the pandemic, I think my optimism, when it seemed like stuff was really clearly coming to a head, I got more optimistic. There's an anxiety thing. I had a feeling that the world's going to fall. Yeah. And it's like the fact that everyone's just acting like it's not is nuts. So it's like I was Chicken Little, the sky's falling, it didn't fall, and then it did. And I was like, I knew it. And I was less nervous somehow. I was like, I knew something was going to screw this up.
Yeah.
And but and obviously, you know, we're still trying to duct tape our society together. So there's more stuff coming. We are in for a lot, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
But in that time I realized that I wanted to output positivity. I wanted to inspire people to be energetic, to make stuff, to feel good, to try to be good to their community.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of I've just been a lot happier since not since the pandemic, and that sounds terrible, but like in the last few years, I think my mindset shifted where the being jaded did not seem like a good use of my time anymore. I'd rather be energetic and excited. I'd rather create just experiences that I want to create magic in the world.
Yeah.
In a world that seems like it's so hell-bent on preventing magic from happening. So that's what I've decided. That's where my optimism comes from. Is this is an opportunity for me to help others and to help myself feel the magic at a time where they're just trying to push magic out.
Yeah, man.
So that was a whole cycle of stuff.
I love that.
But yeah, what about you? Where does your energy come from? I think that I asked that earlier, and we got stuck in the nihilism stuff, and I want to hear.
Yeah.
You're a very energetic, positive person. I immediately upon meeting each other, I think you and I connected very easily. And I think it was an energy thing. We were both just like,
yeah.
So I'm curious, where does that come from? Or do you understand where that comes? Is it just natural? You just wake up in a good mood, like you said, or?
I know. Now I'm like, now I have to go back and let everybody know I was lying. I don't.
We're bad at this. It's part of the show.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a human. I'm not
Excuse
apologizing
me.
for that. But I think I was like your grandfather, like at a point, like when I was younger, I was definitely a person who was like, yeah, man, we're all humans, peace and love. Like, we just need to like hug it out and sing Kumbaya. We're going to be fine.
Did you really recommend singing Kumbaya?
I mean, at a time when I first learned it, I was like, I love this. Like, yeah, like it's something about like singing in a group of people. Like,
Kumbaya is
like,
a good song. I shouldn't be, yeah.
I mean, but no, it's totally cliche. And it's like, nobody's really going to do that. And then I started seeing like, oh, there's a bunch of crap that's wrong with the world. Maybe I could put a little sunshine in. And I worked really, really hard to make whatever space I'm in brighter. Like, I mean, especially if I'm in a good mood, then I'm definitely just going to sprinkle sunshine wherever I go. Like, that's just my jam. I just love when other people can be happy. Like, and it just makes me feel better. It's really kind of selfish because I just want to feel good around other people. So if I can make you feel good, that means I'm going to feel good.
That's pretty cool use of selfishness. I like that.
Can't be completely altruistic. You gotta get something out of it.
Yeah,
you know?
You don't want to be a martyr. Well, I think ironically there's a selfishness to being a martyr, to doing stuff to be miserable. I did this for you. Like I like yours better.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I got to that rut at some point, right before, or maybe right at the start of the pandemic. I got to that point where I was like, man, I'm doing all of this work. I'm fighting for change. And it's like, it's a thankless job, man. Like, people don't really want change. They want you to want change so that they can cheer you on. But nobody wants to do the work when it comes down to it. And it's also really hard work. And it requires you to have like an internal compass. It requires that like when you said you decided to stop being so jaded and you wanted to put out something good into the world and you wanted to help people make magic. Like, first of all, I freaking love that because that's my jam. Let's make magic. And I think like, well, number one, I think you're doing it. And number two, it started with you. It started with a change with you. And when I got to a point where people were like, yeah, we want to hear Maritza speak, it got in my head because I was like, yeah, but you guys don't really care about what I'm saying. Like, you just want me to be a figurehead of a movement that you don't really, like, it's just convenient to be a part of for right now because everybody's doing it. It's like trending. And then I got really sad again for a while at the end of 2020. And I was just like, what's the point? What's the point of me, like, in this world? If I'm only going to make maybe a little bit of change here and there, but like people like you and people in my life have shown me like, no, I make a difference. My existence has made a difference in people's life. I don't need to make big sweeping change in order to make the magic. I don't have to do that. And it's not going to just be one person that makes big sweeping change. Like, we all have power in our lives to create something beautiful and to make meaning. And that's what we are as humans. Like, we're meaning makers, So
Meaning makers.
Yeah. That's like one of my, like, it's
I've
one of my
never heard
core
those
beliefs.
two words quite like that. Yeah.
Really? Oh,
Meaning
well,
makers.
maybe it's just me because, like, this is how I live my life.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I love it really, the change in small communities and the energy, just building up the people you see and are around. I think that there's a big ripple effect to that. And so I actually, it's like the butterfly effect kind of thing, where it's you do something that, maybe 7 people that you're really close to, you've made their lives exceedingly better. But then, like a multi-level marketing scam, those 7 people make 7 other people's lives better. And they're in a great mood because they just hung out with you, Maritza, and then they hang out with somebody else, and they've spread that positivity, and it's like, it's infectious, It's like, do you ever like land in a city where it's just like, it just doesn't feel very happy? Or you land someplace where everyone's like feeling good. Or a room, you go to a party and the whole mood is like weird. Or you go to a party and the whole mood is like generous and exciting. It really is, we're energy creatures, And so I think bringing the energy in a nihilistic world that's telling you to give up, I think the best solution is to give energy, is to be there, to show up for what you can see. And we're at a time where, with the internet and sort of the visibility of all the struggle and all the terror in the world, it's easy to feel like this is all nonsense. But we can really make big differences in the people we're around. And every time I meet people, I meet someone like you who's really doing that. I meet a lot of our coworkers, a lot of this community, a lot of the filmmakers I meet, comedians, artists, activists, there are people that are like, their mission is like, how can I create something nice for everybody? How can I make something really exciting and get people motivated? I like love that. Those are the people I like being around.
Yeah, I think
that are not defeated, the ones who are not defeated and they're succeeding, they're winning, they're creating these incredible spaces and changing my life, and I want to change other people's lives. Those are the best. I'm so sick of the energy sucks. I'm sick of who I've been in the past, which is like, why do you even try? And it's like, yes, it is true that it does look like things are bleak. It does look bleak. However, do you want to be part of the bleakness? Do you want to be part of the defeatedness, or do you want to push yourselves and your community to have some fun and to have some joy and spread it, and then make it easier and more sustainable and wonderful to be alive in this world?
That's the answer. I think you got it. But those are the questions that I ask myself too. Like, what am I contributing to this space if I'm showing up miserable and angry and sad? And there are times that I am miserable and angry and sad, but that doesn't mean that I need to like puke it all over everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sad, so you need to be sad too. That was a great soundbite.
That was disgusting. I'm sorry, everyone.
I'm not.
Thanks for having my back, Maritza. I appreciate it.
I got your back. Yeah. And this is what it's all about, right? And think about like how many times have we pulled each other out of dark spaces and we made each other feel better, and then we went off to make other people feel good.
It's incredible. It's incredible how contagious either good or bad is. And I used to think there was a maturity in being like, oh, why even try? Because I've seen this happen and it messes up. I used to think that was mature. I remember as a kid thinking being tired and exhausted and over it. Like, well, I hit puberty late, so I was like trying to demonstrate to the people I was attracted to how mature I was by thinking that I was too smart to be excited, or too smart to really like, oh yeah, this is just crap and everybody's full of it, and like, oh you like that movie? Well, I think that movie was superficial and stupid. I used to think that was intelligence, and it just was like, oh no, that stinks. And it wasn't working. The people I was attracted to didn't love it. I will say. My friends, they
Can't
didn't love it.
imagine why.
Yeah, what's not to love? I'm a joy to be around. But no, I used to think that was like all the smartest people I know are over it. They're all Holden Caulfield, and this whole thing is from what is it? Catching the Rye.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like, this is BS. I see right through it. And it's like, yeah, it is BS, but like, what are you going to do? Are you going to be a jerk? Are you going to make people unable to feel anything? Or are you going to help people feel things? Are you going to help people engage and look for opportunities to make this place better?
Yeah.
It's a lower level of maturity, I believe, to say I'm done with this. I'm over it.
It's so funny because I definitely was approached in that way. Like people are like, "You're so naive, Maritza. Like that you think like the world could be better. Like don't you know?" So I guess I've encountered a lot of I
probably would have been like that to you in high school if we'd gone to high school together. I think I would be like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
And you would be like, just stay away from that.
Yeah. or I would have probably like tried really hard to like show you I
wasn't deserving of your friendship at that point.
I don't know. I did have issues with trying to do that for people who like one of my exes was like I refer to him as the grumpus because like grumble I'm upset about everything and humans are dumb, and I mean I agree with some stuff, but like what kind of way is that to live?
What's the point of that? I know. I mean, everybody loves a good grouch, but like, you can't have 8 grouches in the room or it's a bad room. 1 grouch and 8 positive people, that works. But you need to counterbalance. We can have 1 grouch. I'll let 1 grouch go per group.
But you also can't have the other extreme of like toxic positivity either. You can't just be like, no, all you have to do is transmute the negative energy and everything's going to be fine. We're going to vibrate higher. And it's like, and like there are some terrible things out in the world and we have to acknowledge the realistic reality.
The realistic reality.
New word. New phrase. Okay. Yeah. Ding, ding.
Wait, can you define toxic positivity?
Yeah. It's like when somebody is maybe like, I've got a problem, and you're like, that's okay. Here's this really simple solution to your very complex problem. And completely disregarding that person might have feelings.
All you have to do is just like
breathe it out.
Breathe in. Just take a breath. Just get calm. Yeah, so it's sort of a condescending.
It is.
Like, oh, here's the antidote, as opposed to actually processing the emotion.
Yeah, it's like pretending that the world really isn't so messed up. And I think it's more important to have a balance. Like we were saying, can't have too many grouches in the room, but you also can't have too many people who are just like rainbows and butterflies and unicorn farts.
Yeah, those rooms are really scary.
Yeah. Because you're ignoring yourself too. Like, it's okay to have negative emotions. Just don't live there. That's all.
Oh, I think it's like with both of these mindsets where it's toxic positivity or total nihilistic negativity, you're not allowing yourself to have any of the other. It's like you're fully just, I'm over this. And if, let's say you feel good, but you're like in a room where you're afraid to tell them you feel good because that's the cultural capital is to say you feel bad.
Yeah.
That's really bad that you can't veer from that course. And if you're toxically positive and you've had a really tough time, something really tough has happened in your family or you had a rough day, bringing that up is going to make people say, oh, no, we don't talk like that here. Like that's inhumane. That's unfair.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's really tough to, I think the balance is a super hard thing and it's an active process. But
yeah,
I'd say it's worthwhile because what else are you going to do? Just be really bored and miserable or just really repress yourself? This is where my closed-mindedness comes in where I'm just like, how the hell do you do this another way? Because every time I've tried the other ways, they've been horrible. So why would you do that? This is my own negativity here where I'm just like, why would you be like toxically positive or completely nihilistic? Obviously there's a lot of problems in that mentality, but I just to me it's blaringly obvious at this point that the best way for me to be is excited and to help create opportunities for other people to be excited too.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. And I'm exhausted sometimes,
and that's real.
And that's okay.
Yeah. It's like I love that you said inhumane because it's like give yourself the full range of human emotions and like be a human. It's okay to be a human.
Be a freaking human. How about that?
Yeah. Like we all have a limited amount of time here. I mean, except for your granddad who's like,
like going on and on. It's amazing.
Like, yeah. Like I just want to be here, and if I can feel good 75% of the time, that's awesome. And I think it's also realistic to hope for that. And then also it's okay to not feel good all the time. But I'm not going to stay there. I'm not going to live there. I'm not going to let those things run my life. I'm in charge. I'm in charge of my life. Are you in charge of your life?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
for
I
the
am.
most part, right? We still got to pay bills and stuff, but
Yeah. I mean, we there's definitely like opportunities to say we're not in charge of our lives, but I found that way less productive.
Right.
It's like there's nothing, if I'm a victim, there's nothing I can do.
Ooh, that's the one.
I keep resolving it because it's sorry. With I'm a musician. Anyways,
I love it though.
Any final closing thoughts? I think we're getting to the end of our half hour.
Make your own magic. It's okay to be a human. All of this ultimately, I guess, is pointless unless we're having a good time while we're here. What do you think?
I agree. Let's make our own reason to be, and let's try to promote good feelings and caring and sharing. And this is getting worse the more words I say. So see you next time. We're bad at this is the name of the show. That's Maritza. I'm
That's
Peter.
Peter.
And that is the cleanest closing we're ever going to do. Ha!